Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/PettyRevenge, where one of the kids in OP's neighborhood gets so fed up with the Butthole mailman that he covers him in pee. Our first Reddit post comes from Triple Champion 524, titled Destroyed My Boss's Career. A few years back, I got hired as a supervisor for a local government. I was to help supervise about 10 employees. Above me was a manager. He was a terrible leader and would often yell at people, make slurs, give impossible tasks and deadlines. On my third day in, he yelled at me to, quote, learn how to do my effing job in front of the employees. He made snide remarks to other employees that he was going to terminate me on probation. He demanded that I kept communication log with every task he assigns me and updates it as I complete them. He also chastised me when my first weekend for, quote, not having any questions emailed to him by the end of the week. He told me he expects me to send 3 questions every week until I'm off probation. The next week, I sent him 3 questions as required, and he replied back to look up the answers myself. Oh my God. He was out to get me. He would give a task, then another task, then ask why I didn't get the first one done. I also found out that he rode the old supervisor that way until he got enough dirt on him to terminate him. So I decided it was war. I kept a log of every perceived policy violation, broken rule, inappropriate comment, and people who witnessed it. I also engaged other supervisors and employees from other departments. After 28 days of employment, I was ready to quit. I kept a resignation letter in my car, and that gave me the power that I needed to just press on. After 28 days, I filed a formal complaint with HR. At that time, I convinced the other supervisors to do the same. After that, several employees filed complaints, and a group complaint was filed. HR investigated the complaints, and the manager was placed on administrative leave. The investigation concluded that the manager did violate numerous policies, created a hostile work environment, and he ended up resigning. Since then, he has been burning bridges at every employer, 3 so far, and went from a manager of 15 employees and a great pension making $95K a year to a low laborer employee making about $25 an hour in a hole-in-the-wall facility. To be fair, he created his own problems. I just helped HR see it. Good for you, OP. It sounds like this was a long time coming. He sounds like a complete butthole, and I'm so glad you were able to get rid of him. Our next Reddit post comes from Cyrus Fox, titled, That Time a Neighborhood Kid Got Even with the Butthole Delivery Guy. This one happened a few years ago. Our mail carrier changed, and the new guy, we'll call him Dave, was an absolute butthole. He trod on flower beds, was rude to people, but the real kicker was Dave would pee in a bottle, and if he was in a bad mood, that bottle would be thrown in someone's garden. If you tell him to throw the bottle in the trash, he'd throw the bottle at you. Dave was the son of the postmaster, Bob, an older guy of the, quote, boys will be boys mindset, and best friends with the local sheriff, Steve. If you talk to Bob about his son, it would always be excuses. He's a foster kid, he's had a hard life, and on and on. If you went to Steve, then it would be, quote, boys will be boys. Dave was in his 30s. Or, quote, Postmaster Bob is dealing with it personally. One day in the middle of summer, the neighborhood kids got to see Mailman Dave being his usual sunny self. Seems Dave was mean to them, too. The kids were out playing with their water pistols, and one of them had this real high-powered thing which sent the water a good 10 feet or more. And the kid who owned it, named Oren, was a really great shot. It's a lovely day, 30-degree day, sun, and I'm out back putting out dinner. Suddenly, there's a blood-curdling scream from Dave, and the whole neighborhood comes running to see what happened. Turns out, Oren had loaded his water pistol with one of Dave's pee bottles and topped it off with a can of Redbull. So now, Dave was covered in this disgusting, stinky pee and sugar mess, which was starting to stink to high heaven. One of my neighbors offered to let Dave use her shower, but he ran off to another house, grabbed the hose, and turned it on himself. So now Dave is sticky, pee-soaked, and wet. He ditched everything in the street and ran off. Steve and Bob went walking the street that afternoon, and we had all, quote, not seen anything, of course. Bob had the bright idea of asking Orrin, who told him exactly what we all thought of Dave and how he was acting, in the way only a bright-eyed 12-year-old can. Bob and Steve cornered Orrin's dad and said, "Is this your son? Do you know what he did?" Without missing a beat, Orrin's dad fired back and said, "Well, Sheriff Steve, don't you always say boys will be boys?" We never saw Dave again, but Orrin's birthday party was huge after that. God bless that kid. God bless that kid indeed. That was probably one of my favorite stories to read. Screw that butthole neighbor. How much of a butthole do you have to be to throw your own pee in someone's yard and then throw it at them? Like, anywhere else, if your dad wasn't the sheriff, you would be in freaking jail. So screw that guy. He had that and more coming to him. Our next Reddit post comes from OddFreedom9198, titled, "The time a supervisor tried to throw me under the bus, but I had receipts." This happened in 2015 during my first year of teaching in special education in the USA. I don't know if anyone else here works in special ed, but if you do, you're probably familiar with the difficult process of obtaining a one-on-one para for a student. So I had this kiddo, we'll call him JJ. He had some unsafe behaviors as a kindergartner, such as eloping from the school and into the neighborhood. It was terrifying, to say the least, a big safety concern. So I spoke to my supervisor, showed him the data, and he agreed that the student definitely needed a one-on-one support. My supervisor, Mr. C, worked with me for a couple of weeks on the safety net process, getting a one-on-one. It was a lot of loops and jumps and saying the right thing in a very specific way, but I got it completed. I sent it to Mr. C for his last final approval and was met with silence. I emailed him after a day because we're all busy in this field, no worries, but just more silence. I called his office and left a voicemail with his secretary, but more silence. I tried to get a hold of him for 2 weeks with growing worry because the deadline was approaching, but I never heard back from him. After the due date had passed, he finally messaged me and said since I didn't reach out to him with the final copy, the one-on-one wasn't approved. I was pissed. So I gathered copies of all of the emails, the phone calls, every attempt I made to reach out to him, and sent it to his boss, Mr. B, who's the head of special ed services. I also included Mr. C's last email. A couple of days later, Mr. C sent me a former letter of apology through our district mailing system. Mr. B granted me an extension and filed the paperwork himself, and also granted me an emergency one-on-one while the paperwork was processed. At the end of the year, Mr. C was fired from his position. I doubt it was just me, but I'm sure my receipts had something to do with his removal as special ed supervisor. You know, had he apologized like an adult and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I just got busy," and kind of, just anything, like I just forgot about your emails, whatever, that would have been one thing. But to just lie about it and just throw you under the bus like that, like, yeah, this dude got exactly what was coming for him. There's no reason to lie. Just say, "Hey, I made a mistake. It's okay. We all make mistakes. No worries." But yeah, OP, you handled it perfectly. Good on you for keeping receipts. And yeah, that dude had exactly what he was coming for. And good on you for trying to take care of those kids and going above and beyond for them. That's awesome. Our next Reddit post comes from Nude in the Garden, titled, "She erased us from her wedding, so I'm erasing her from mine." When my brother got married, his bride, now sister-in-law, had very specific expectations. She wanted everyone in the family to wear their wedding colors, and we all did. People flew in from out of state, and everyone made an effort to make her feel celebrated. The day before the wedding, she made some offhanded but clearly pointed remarks about how, quote, our side of the family never takes anything seriously, and she wasn't expecting us to take this seriously either. The comments made their rounds, and feelings were hurt before the wedding even began. But we still showed up, looked great, and participated. Fast forward to getting the wedding photos and video, and not a single photo of our side of the family was posted. Not one. In the entire 3-minute highlight reel. No faces of our family except for a 3-second clip of my parents with the bride and groom. The rest of us, it's like we never existed. So I texted her cordially and asked if she could send me the pictures with just our siblings, since none had been posted. She responded that we never took those pictures. That's wild, because I remember helping people adjust corsages for them. She doubled down, though, on the gaslighting, and I gave it 6 months and asked again. She suddenly had no idea what I was talking about. So, fine. Here's where the petty revenge comes in. I'm getting married in 8 days. I've been engaged for 6 months and planning this moment since she tried to erase us. I hired a great photographer and videographer. What she doesn't know is that the videographer has a secret mission. Make it look like she's getting all of the attention. Track her, hover near her like she's the star of the show. She will feel so seen. And then the final cut, she won't appear for even 1 second, just like she made sure that we didn't. I didn't even invite her originally. Word must have gotten out because she cornered me at a family dinner and said, "Hey, unfortunately, I have to work the day before and after your wedding, but I should still be able to make it." I was so stunned, I just said, that's fine. The Airbnb is booked whether you're there or not. So now she's coming. Ugh. To cope, I spelled her name wrong on the wedding invite on purpose. That was my first move. The video blackout will be my last. I'm not asking for advice and not asking if it's too mean. It's not. It's exactly fair. I get it. It's your wedding and, you can do whatever you want to do. But, she could have at least tried to treat both families equally, right? She didn't have to be such a butthole to you and your family just because you're not, her biological family. That's so crappy. But anyway, I would almost pay to see the look on her face when you play that video for everyone, and she's not in it at all. That is going to be one of the best petty revenges, OP. It might just be the blow to her ego that she desperately needs to bring her back to reality. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/petty revenge. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these videos, like and subscribe as we post a new Reddit video almost every single day.